The Rebel Capitalist Show.
Let's walk through an example of just, we'll call them the average Joe. We'll call him Joe. And Joe he's watching this right now. Joe's maybe 35 years old. He's got a kid, he's got a wife, he's got a full-time job, but Joe is super interested in, let's say, well, we'll go with one of mine. We'll go with mid-90s Ford pickup trucks.
Yep.
So let's do this thought experiment with Joe and take him from the starting where he doesn't even have a website, he has nothing, he barely has an email address, to an online business that's making more than he's making at his current job.
Yeah.
So what does he do first?
Yeah, I'll use the example. So I'm a minority shareholder in a survival blog, and you actually met one of the people. Without sharing too many details, this is a multi-million-dollar blog, which was started off with the topics around, let's say, making a fire, or, what type of body armor should you have for your children, or what happens if an EMP hits, right? That type of stuff, right? Or how do you build a bunker? So,
Yeah.
So if you're doing, we're talking, pickup trucks, I think people that are interested in that want to get really technical. Like what are cool add-ons we can have, or what are the best tools? What type of, I'm just making things up, what type of oil should I be using to optimize the mileage? I don't know. Right.
No, especially with a diesel truck. Yeah. They're all about that for sure.
Yeah. So look, what you do in the very beginning is you write what you're interested in. So without thinking about SEO too much, right? SEO, content marketing, because it just starts to add all this cognitive load on your head. So you want to make it very simple. So for example, George, when you start talking about the repo market, you just start talking about whatever, the macro stuff. It's what you're interested in, and people are going to seek you out. So in the very early days, you just focus on what you find interesting. I would say that when you're writing, if you're doing blog posts, if you want it to be searchable content, you generally want to have pieces that maybe are, 800 to 1500 words or so. So they're not very short pieces, because the old days of Google, where you could just write like a 200 word post and start to rank well on Google, that doesn't work anymore, right? So my point is, whether you're blogging,
what topic, let's just assume that Joe, he enjoyed writing more than he enjoyed like a podcast audio or a video. So he sets up a blog. We got that. And that's pretty easy to do, very easy to do nowadays. Should he use Wix or WordPress, or what should he do for setting up the blog?
Great question. So in the tech world right now, people are pretty hot around this new CMS content management system called Webflow, and it allows you to build websites very quickly, and it looks damn good, almost like as if you paid someone 20 grand plus to build a website.
Oh, wow.
You can do that. You can certainly use Wix or Squarespace. I would just say you want to control your domain as soon as you can, right? So, we're getting a little in the weeds on the blog side of things, but if you do want to get started, there is actually, I believe on Neil's website, how to start a WordPress blog. There's a lot of resources on what to do, because it's like, okay, if you use WordPress, what plugins do you put in? What hosting should you use, right? There's just like all this stuff. But I think at a very high level, just thinking back to the content again, what content do I find interesting? What content would my readers find helpful? And then whether you're doing podcasts, videos, or whatever, you just keep going. And here's the thing, I'll share some numbers. This is kind of digressing a little bit, but for my first podcast, Leveling Up, after the first year, this is 7 years ago, by the way, I was only getting 9 downloads a day, and I would spend 6 hours a week on it while I was trying to save single grain. So stupid to split my attention. But I was learning a lot, talking to amazing people, such as yourself, just learning, right? And after the first year, so the second year, I was only getting 30 downloads a day. So 6 hours a week again, right? Totally, like, everyone from a numbers perspective, you should be like, Eric, you're an idiot, give up. Yeah. So my point of saying all this is that it takes time to compound. And now collectively, or just combined with the two podcasts, about 1.6 million downloads a month, which is decent. It's not like Joe Rogan style, but you stick with it, right? So it's the same thing as investing. You stick with it, you let it compound. Same thing, I'll share some more numbers. The Single Grain blog, when I first took over the company, one of the main benefits was I would have this website that's aged, and I would be able to create content on it, and I'd be able to build it up. We're getting about 4,000 visits a month, which is okay. Now we're up to about 300,000 visits a month. And that took about 2.5, 3 years to get that machine to really start compounding. And now we have enough authority on the website where whatever we tend to publish around marketing tends to rank pretty well. So we can go in a lot of different directions. I just wanted to share the key takeaway here is that it takes time to grow, just like any
And it
investment.
compounds, but
Yeah.
you got to think of it compounding. I mean, you can't get discouraged if your blog is only getting, or your website is only getting 10 views a day, or your YouTube channel is only getting 100 views a day or something like that, because it's just, you start with a penny, you double it, and at the end of the month, you've got what, $1 million, whatever
Yeah.
that phrase is, or whatever that's.
You know what they say too?
It's the exact same thing with this.
Yep.
So we've got Joe. He starts a blog. He's starting to write posts on what he's interested in. So maybe he's not as focused on keywords, but he's maybe more focused on what he likes, because that's most likely what his audience is going to want to read about. So
Yep.
How many posts is he doing per week? What is his goal? Is it 3 posts a week? Is it 2? Is it 5?
Yeah.
Or what would you suggest?
I think the key thing to ask yourself is, what is everybody else doing right now? So how do you zig where everyone else is zagging, right? So let's give an example. So the Marketing School podcast is 5 to 10 minutes every single day. Again, it's a daily podcast. Nobody else was doing that at the time. Everyone else was doing interview podcasts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I already had an interview podcast. How can we be different? Where you have 2 not only marketers but business people talking about and actually sharing their learnings. And we haven't missed an episode for about 4.5 years. And so that, by the way, when you do it that way on the podcasting side, you compound even faster because it's a daily thing. So that was a little different. I'll say for you, my hypothesis is that your YouTube has grown from 0 to 200K plus so quickly because your videos are longer. They're a lot more thought through. There's a lot more preparation in it. And also the timing was perfect too, where you have people like me that are like, holy crap, got to do something right now. So, it's the timing thing is a little bit of luck, but the other ones where you were just consistent and you prepared a lot and people are just like, it's different. And then every now and then you might have someone like Robert Kiyosaki mention it, boom, spike, right? That's what it is. I think it's a little bit of luck, but a lot of consistency.
Okay, so maybe the takeaway there for Joe is whatever you can do consistently, that's what you should start with. So if you're thinking about your schedule with your family and your work schedule and say, okay, right now I know for sure I could do 2 blog posts per week, then that's going to be your objective. If that's kind of your end marathon pace that you know that you can maintain. And if you could do 3, that's great, but you got to start with what's going to be realistic long term.